Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, March 17th, 2022 meeting of the St. Tammany Parish School Board. Ms. Coakley, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Harrell.
Here.
Mr. Green. Mrs. Heintz. Mr. Derman. Mr. Loop. Mr. Nation. Mrs. Moore. Mr. Winkler. Mrs. Baker. Mr. Bittencourt. Mrs. Lamy. Mr. Hersey. Mr. Bro. Mr. Kuzan. Mrs. Page.
Thank you, Ms. Coakley. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our invocation will be led by Wesley Daniels from Mandeville Junior High.
Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Wesley. We'll be now led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Addison and London Gio from Montleon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all so much for doing that. Up next is the recognition of visitors. Mr. Mike Derman.
Thank you, President Harrell. I just wanted to take this opportunity, excuse me, to wish my daughter Bailey a happy birthday because they're out eating and I'm sitting here. So I don't know who got the short end of that deal, but anyway, happy birthday, Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. Mr. Nation.
Thank you, Board President Harold. Want to recognize a friend of all of us, but a personal friend of mine, our district attorney, Warren Montgomery, who's here tonight. And Warren will be, I know he'll be addressing the board in the public comment sections here in a few minutes, but Warren, it's always good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Ms. Moore.
I'm learning all of this. I want to wish my husband a happy birthday. So obviously I am not getting wife of the year for my duties. Thank you.
You earned that all the other days, huh?
Oh.
Coach Loop.
Yes, I want to make sure that some people on this board there, 6 of our former teachers there, know that today is Louisiana Retired Teachers Day. It was by the governor there, a resolution there passed out. He does this every year on this particular date, and we need to be able to recognize our retired teachers up here still hanging on doing their service. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Loop. Any additional recognitions? Seeing none. Superintendent Javia, would you like to give us the update?
Thank you, President Harold. Hey, good evening, everyone. Just a few updates for you guys. First off, I want to thank Dr. Bernard and Channel 13 for helping us out. Our SWE community has reached out to us about being more accessible during our broadcast. So now we're going to be doing our broadcast and having closed caption available to our people that in community that need accessibility. So I think that was a tremendous offering they made to make that happen. So we'll be doing that for all of our live stream meetings. Also, I would like to tell everyone we had a huge team building event at all of our schools on Friday, and just an amazing reflection from our teachers and from our administrators. It was a kind of get to know you activity. We haven't done that in so long, just with COVID and so many other things that have hindered our ability to gather. So just having that opportunity to share and employees being able to get with each other and spend some time and get to know each other again. It was a great exercise, and I just appreciate everyone doing that. We had supervisors at every school that participated in the activity. It was just a great event. And I was able to get over to Boyette Junior High to participate with them. So it was great to see some of those community members again that I haven't seen in a very long time. I'm about 22 schools into my school visits. So I'm visiting every campus right now, meeting with the administration and some of their leadership team, just to talk about some different things and address concerns they might have, and just making sure that I'm doing everything I can to hear what their needs are and the needs of their community. So it's been great spending some time with our administrators and their leadership teams. Also, we're looking forward to next Wednesday is our next leg of our collective bargaining meetings. So those have gone well so far. We're really looking forward to getting back together and keeping that process going, and that'll happen next Wednesday. Also today, I went to Baton Rouge and met with my Region 2 superintendent group. We had some great conversations. We did a professional development exercise on culture and climate also. It's just so necessary right now. So that was a great experience. And we've got a couple members that are on the working group for accountability. Sorry, lost my train of thought. For accountability. And so they had some great things to share with us. And it's just great to get with those people and spend a little time and hear their concerns, and their concerns mirror our concerns. So it was great to have that conversation. We also went through some of the legislation that's been proposed, and there's about 76 bills total that impact school systems or students. And so we're going to be paying very close attention to a lot of those issues as they come up. And any feedback or anything they need from us and our delegation needs, we will provide to them absolutely. And last thing is what you see on the screen right now, which is something I'm so excited about, is getting our graduations back going again. So the contracts are signed. We are back at Southeastern again, and we don't have to run from thunderstorms and cancel like we did last year. We had 3 graduations, 2 that I don't know how we got them in, and 1 that had to be moved today because of so much rain. So I'm just excited. It's just a great atmosphere for a graduation. There's no bad seat in the whole house, and we don't have to worry about the elements. And it's a great venue, and we're really looking forward to it. So thanks everyone very much. Board members, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those if you have any.
Mr. Derman.
How about our COVID updates?
Do I have to do that?
If it's low, yes.
Yeah, I will. Then we this week in the last, if you remember last meeting, we had 0. We had 1 positive employee and 1 positive student for the entire week, dating back to last Thursday evening. So very good. Yeah, I was trying to get away from that, Mr. Derman. Come on, man. So yeah, that's great news. That's absolutely great news.
Mr. Kuzan.
I'm sorry, I think I missed my chance, but I'd like to congratulate the North Shore High School Panther basketball team. They didn't win the state championship, but they really made a good run at it, and we are very proud of them. If there's anybody here from North Shore High School, but I just want to make sure that they get the recognition that they deserve. They did a very fantastic job. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah, Mr. Kuzan, I was going to ask this board and Mr. Harold to recognize them. We will be in Slidell for next month's board meeting, so I would love to be able to recognize them at that time and be an easy transition for them. If y'all wouldn't mind doing that, that would be wonderful.
And Mr. Jabby, I don't know if it's appropriate to mix sports metaphors, but I'm assuming it's going to be a full court press on the football fields at all the high schools?
It is. And we are rolling. Miss Tipton's got them rolling. They are out working, and we're excited about the progress. The companies are really excited about getting out there. And we're going to see some major progress in the next few weeks.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
No problem.
Jabby.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we've got some special recognitions tonight. Up first is the LSBA 2022 Artwork Contest winner. I would like to recognize Ms. Student Mayan Mori from Mount Leon Junior High for winning first place in the Louisiana School Board Association Artwork Contest and exhibit for her mallard duck feather artwork. 40-plus parishes and students participated in the contest, and their artwork was displayed during the 2022 LSBA convention that we attended, held earlier this month in Baton Rouge. Winning artwork will be professionally framed and displayed in the governor's mansion for all visitors of the mansion to view. Maya is an 8th grade talented art student, and Miss Luba Zygorechi is her talented art teacher who has been teaching in the parish for 6 years. At this time, Ms. Moore, will you please present the LSBA first place plaque to Maya? Would their guests please stand and be recognized to support in the arts?
Meredith, would you mind taking a picture of them for me if you wouldn't mind, please? It was on the screen. It was on the screen. Mr. Bro, it's on the screen. I'd also like to thank Ms. Sherry Jones, Principal of Mount Leon, for being here and supporting. Thank you so much, Ms. Sherry.
Mr. Gill, have a good night. Up next is the National Board Certified Educators Resolution. Ms. Lamy.
Whereas the St. Tammany Parish School Board appreciates the dedication and commitment of all employees who work to provide a high-quality education for the students of St. Tammany Parish Public School System. And whereas the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards was founded in 1987 with the mission of maintaining high and rigorous standards for what accomplished educators should know and be able to do in order to generate continuous improvement in the field of education. And whereas National Board certification is a demanding and rigorous process in which educators voluntarily engage in continuous learning, collaboration, and reflection on teaching practices in order to achieve National Board certification. And whereas the St. Tammany Parish School Board is extremely proud of our school system employees, including teachers, guidance counselors, psychologists, social workers, speech language pathologists, and diagnosticians who have gone through the process of earning National Board certification, demonstrating their desire to continue their own education in order to serve our students. And whereas we honor all of our National Board certified educators for their strong commitment to education and commend them for attaining this certification. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the St. Tammany Parish School Board acknowledge and appreciate the dedicated service of all of our National Board certified employees within our school system. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of this board, with a copy being sent to all schools and offices within the school system to post as a sign of respect and gratitude to our National Board certified educators. And if we could have any National Board certified educators, please stand in the audience.
They're resting.
Ms. Barrios? Well, stand up. That's why I said that, because I saw you. Retired or not, we appreciate what you did for our students. That's it.
Do you want to make that motion?
Oh, yes, I would like to make that motion.
Do
Do
I
I
have
have
a
a second?
Unanimous
Unanimous second. Do we have any comments by the public? Mr. Osborne?
Obviously fully support the resolution. My brother teaches in Kentucky. He's smarter than I am. He tried twice, didn't get it. So it's a very grueling process. So hats off to those who have earned this. I do hope the state will fund these things again. I think it's over 10 years now, and maybe that's why we don't have as many. You know, it's so tough, but it used to have that financial incentive. But again, thank you all for pointing that out. And as Ms. Lamy said, it's not just teachers. There are other classifications that can earn this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Do we have any other additional comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have any comments from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Up first on the agenda, item 3, to consider and take action with respect to adopting a resolution approving the acceptance of the bid for the purchase of $25 million of general obligation school bond series 2022 of St. Tammany Parish-wide School District Number 12 of the Parish of St. Tammany, State of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewithin. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Loop, for the second. Do we have any comments by the public? All right, Mr. Schluter, would you mind giving us a little?
Thank you. Grant Schluter with Foley Udell Bond Counsel. Stephanie Ferry, financial advisor, was unable to be here tonight. She's participated in the entire process on the bond sale. We talked right before the meeting. So I'll be speaking for both myself and Stephanie. First of all, you did maintain your AA rating with Standard & Poor's again. And we know that translates obviously to the lowest interest rates that a public body can receive basically on whatever date you price these bonds and sell them. S&P issued a detailed report, as they do every time you issue a bond issue. And they noted the strong historical financial performance of the school board. And they have recognized this for many years. So again, there is no school board in the state that has a higher bond rating. And there's a very small handful that have the same bond rating. So it translates to a lower interest rate, lower cost to the taxpayers on these bonds. You had authorized at a previous meeting for the superintendent to receive the electronic bids. He did that, and we tried to schedule that as quickly as we could, given the fact that interest rates were trending up, starting to trend up. Bids were received on February 23rd. You received 8 bids, which is a very significant number of bidding syndicates bidding on your bonds. It's more than we usually see. The bids were very compressed. They were within a very, very tight range, very aggressive bidding. The low bid was 2.31%, 2.31%. Also, in connection with the low bid, the bidder also bid a premium of a little more than $3 million. Accordingly, for this $25 million bond issue, your construction fund will receive approximately $28 million for actual projects. Those funds, the premium, are restricted in the same fashion as the $25 million. It all goes into a construction fund, and it has to be used for the projects on your project list that was referenced in the proposition approved by the voters. Excellent bond sale. We intend to close on March 30th, and the funds will be available at that time. Any questions? Be happy to answer them.
Board members, Mr. Nation.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. Mr. Schluter, it's always good to see you. And thank you for all the work you do for us. Any thoughts of why we had a few more bidders this time than we normally do?
It's
Just the state of the market?
Well, I think it's the issue primarily,
Right.
because you've always had tremendous interest in your bonds, whether they're refunding or new money bonds. And again, there's quite a demand in the market also, but for the higher rated credits.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you always, as I say this every time we come up and do bonds, thank you to Mrs. Prevost and her team, because it's the group that's been assembled here for a long time that manage our money, that we manage the taxpayers' money, that we're able to maintain such a high bond rating.
Well, your financial position is very important, and we all work very hard, and Terry's very involved in the superintendent with these meetings with Standard & Poor's, and it's critical to maintain this bond rating. It translates to significant savings to the property taxpayers. And that's the same reason you've been able to refund virtually all of your outstanding bond issues, and all of the savings from those refundings have accrued to the benefit of the property taxpayers. The school board did not receive a penny from any of those refinancings. So continue the good work and maintain that fund balance and continue the strong financial performance that you've been recognized for by an independent agency, Standard & Poor's.
And it's also allowed us to roll back millages on several occasions.
That is correct. And I mentioned this to other school boards because I get the question occasionally. And I was at Jefferson Parish Schools last night and Washita Schools at noon today. You caught me off, right? We talk about your history of going out every 4 or 5 years, 6 years with additional GO bonds to maintain your capital improvement program, security, technology. And each time you've gone out with that type of proposal, every 5, 6 years, in the last few decades, you've represented in the proposition approved by the voters that there's no proposed increase or no estimated increase in the taxes they're paying with the additional bonds. And not only have you kept that representation to the voters, but since we started this, when I was involved with it in the 90s, you've reduced your bond millage from 26 mils to, I believe it's 13.9. 13.9.
So almost half.
Yes. And at the same time, producing substantial additional capital funds.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here, Mr. Schluter. You do, since I've been on this board, you've always brought good news, and I think this is good news. Just for those interested at home, this board is issuing 25 million of new bonds at 2.3% to fund new building and capital improvement projects. This is kind of the simplest way to kind of cliff note that.
Yes, sir. And it's for those projects that were referenced in the actual ballot proposition that was approved by the voters.
Yep. So in the pipeline projects ready to go, and now we've got funding to move forward. The other thing you had said that I think is very important for our public to know, because if you look at our budget, we do have a lot of cash on the balance sheet, and you said maintenance of the fund balance. And I think it's very important for people to know that while we do have cash on the balance sheet, we choose to maintain a AA credit rating, thus making us a very attractive issuer of bonds. And a lot of that has to do with our balance sheet and how rock solid it is.
Standard & Poor's considers that to be very important for any public body to meet unanticipated emergencies, hurricanes, natural disasters, or economic downturns, decreases in property tax values. So it's a very important component in their rating process. And those that don't have a healthy fund balance have substantially lower bond rating, higher interest rate, higher cost to the taxpayers.
Thank you, Mr. Schluter.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Any additional questions for Mr. Schluter? Mr. Bro.
Thank you. Every time you come here, I learn a little bit more. You know, if I stay here for another 50 years, I'll know as much as you, maybe.
Well, I'm just getting the handle on it.
So this bond is to the investor, it's tax-free?
It's tax.
Municipal
The
bond.
interest is exempt from federal income taxation.
Which is different than when we resell a bond. In the past, we've refinanced some of our bonds. In those cases, is the interest tax-free?
Historically, you've had refundings that are tax exempt.
That's what I meant. Tax
Also,
exempt.
in recent years, you, along with other school boards and other public bodies, have also had some taxable refundings. And the reason for that is the federal government placed new restrictions on refinancings such that you have to wait until right before the date we can retire the old issue, call it early, in order for it to be tax exempt. So what we found was that interest rates had gone so low a few years back that it became economically feasible to refund even at a taxable rate, which was a little bit higher than a tax exempt rate. And accordingly, there were a number of taxable refundings across the nation, and you did a number of those also.
So we have specific dates phased out where we could repurchase this bond, and if we did it right before that date, we could reissue it as a tax exempt. Is that, am I following you on that?
Yeah, those are generally going to be non-callable because they had 10 years or less when we refinance them. So they're not going to be callable. But you have more issues coming up that are approaching the 10-year call date that we will be able to refinance on a tax exempt basis.
So this one that we're talking about today,
This
in
is
10 years, it would be recallable.
correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And how long is the duration for this bond?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
So we're
And-
going to get an immediate shot in the arm of roughly $28 million for construction
Correct.
based on this. And we're obligated for 2.3%.
2.31%. That
All
is
right.
correct.
Thank you. Sounds good.
And what we do is the financial advisor, municipal advisor, and ourselves, we monitor all of your outstanding issues. As soon as one becomes a candidate for refinancing and produces sufficient projected savings in accordance with state bond commission requirements, we bring that to you immediately to start the process.
Yeah,
And
that worked
I
when
didn't bring
interest
my
rates
little
were
sheet, but
dropping. I
you-
don't know if that's going to work in the future too much, but
It may very well work if we refinance them right before the first call date. But I agree with you, it's not going to work on a taxable basis 2 or 3 years before that first date because the rates are going to be too high. That's correct.
Right.
I agree.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bro. Any additional questions? Thank you, Mr. Schluter, so much.
I just want to thank all of you. Appreciate it. And excellent bond sale. We love to see this many bids and we love to see a low interest rate. Anytime you can get in the low twos, that's excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Schluter. Thank you.
Board members, please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Item B, approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on February 10th, 2022. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Hersey, and a second by Mr. Green. Thank you. Any comments by the public? Any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Item C, approval of minutes for the special meeting held on February 21st, 2022. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Kuzan. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Derman. Any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions from the board? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Item D, appropriate retirement resolutions for the following employee support services personnel subsequent to February 10th, 2022. Mr. Kosei.
Thank you, President Harrell, Superintendent Javia, and Board. It's my pleasure to bring you the appropriate retirement resolutions on the following employee support services personnel subsequent to the February 10th, 2022 meeting. Gregory L. Bennett, Lee Road Junior High, 7.50 years, all in St. Tammany Parish. Leslie F. Surpass, Madisonville Elementary, 17.06 years, all in St. Tammany Parish. And Mary W. Gamponia, Slidell Junior High, 26.32 years, all in St. Tammany Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Kosei. Do I have a motion? Ms. Lamy? Thank you. Can I have a second? Mr. Kuzan, thank you. Do I have any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Item 4 on the agenda, approval of recommendations from committee as a whole meeting for finance and administrative held on March 7th, 2022. Mr. Nation.
Thank you, Board President Harold. We have two recommendations tonight. The Committee for Finance and Administrative did meet on March 7th, and from that meeting, we do have two recommendations tonight. The first is to recommend acceptance of the low base bid, alternate number 1 and alternate number 2, submitted by Lowe Brothers LLC in the amount of $464,015 for the paving repairs at Mandeville High School, STPPS project number P0306. And I second.
Thank you, Mr. Nation. Thank you, Mr. Green. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, any comments by board members, questions? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Mr. Nation.
And our second and final recommendation to the board tonight is to recommend adoption of the resolution authorizing the sale of 16th section land timber. And I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Darman, for the second. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, oh, Mr. Osborne.
This is a question somebody asked me, so if someone on the board can talk about it. Where do those funds go? Is that just kind of goes into the general fund? So again, that's just a question somebody had, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Do we have any additional comments by the public? Do we have any questions from board members? Mr. Bro.
I realize I wasn't here for the last meeting, but it said about 5% of the land was in our parish. How many acres? I
Ms.
guess
Prevost?
16th section or standard size. I'm just curious.
1,230 acres for St. Tammany,
Really? That much?
Mhm.
It's a lot of money.
and it would go in the general fund. It's required to go in that, but according to our codes that are established by the Department of Ed.
Thank you so much for getting that answered. Do we have any additional questions from board members? Mr. Darman? She did. Seeing no more questions, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously.
And Mr. Harold, that concludes our report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nation. Approval of recommendations from committee as a whole for Human Resources and Education held on March 7th, 2022. Mr. Green, will you please give that report?
Thank you, Mr. Harold. The committee did meet on March 7th and recommends the following: that we accept the increase of substitute pay effective fiscal year 22 through 2023.
You make that motion?
I so move.
Do we have a second? Ms. Lamy has a second. Do we have any comments by the public? Mr. Osborne?
I definitely agree, like many of the board members said, it's a step in the right direction. I must have missed it last week. I thought it was for this year. It's for next year. You probably won't, but I would just make that recommendation to accept it for this year. Again, I don't represent subs, but they're a big part of the health of our system. So if that's possible to do it this year, but otherwise, obviously, yes on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any additional questions from comments? Any
just,
questions from board members?
yes, I'd
Ms.
like to
Moore?
thank you for the graph that was put together. It makes it very easy to see that St. Tammany is moving in the right direction. In every category, we outpaid every other parish around. So I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you very much for the paperwork.
I do appreciate it. I did see that we were the same in 2 or 3 on certain categories, but I love that the certified teacher emphasis was really kicked in there, because while any qualified person can do a great job, having a certified teacher that can actually teach the core content and keep the students learning is really important. So I'm thankful for that also. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lamy. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Prevost, can you help us? Because I know that there was some rationale as to why we couldn't start now versus the next fiscal year. And can you help me jog my memory there?
Yeah, we have a module that was built for us in Munis for substitute pay. So that would have to be reworked. And because of the timing, how sub pay comes in, we would need to do it at the start of a semester. So it would be very difficult to do it mid-year like now. It would have to be done at the beginning of the year because we have to prepare for it.
Okay.
And then we have to have all the time in because it's a transition from the rate of pay.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Any additional questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Mr. Green? That completes your report?
That does conclude our report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, we're going to take a brief recess, maybe 2-3 minutes, give the staff a chance to clear out, and before we begin public comments. Oh, they won't keep you. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right, up first for public comments is Mr. Warren Montgomery. Mr. Montgomery?
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the school board. I appreciate the time. I'm glad you guys have. I have my own little thing here, and so my time is short, so I'll try to be as brief as I possibly can be. My name is Warren Montgomery. I'm the district attorney for Washington and St. Tammany parishes, and I'm here to talk to you about a very, very serious public security issue that we are facing in St. Tammany Parish. And there are a couple of principles that I just want to go over with you. And some of these you're very aware of, but maybe some of you aren't. In order to reduce crime or to stop crime, there are 4 steps. You have to detect crime, detection. You have to apprehend the criminal, apprehension. You have to prosecute the criminal, prosecution. And then you have to sanction the criminal. And that's the sentencing or whatever the judge determines the sentence to be. So all of us participate in that part, which we call the detection, right? We call the police when we see something happen, or the police on their own recognize that some criminal offense has been committed. That's the first step. The second step is, of course, the apprehension. And that's principally the role of the police, law enforcement, the sheriff, the local police. The third step is prosecution. That is the role of the DA and exclusively the role of the district attorney. And that's exclusively my role. And of course, the last is the sanction, the penalty phase. And that's the judge has the largest responsibility, although I have a responsibility also with regards to the sanction. So each one of those steps forms, so to speak, links in a chain. And if any one of those links is broken, then the chain doesn't work. If we don't detect crime, we can't stop it. If the criminal isn't apprehended, it can't be held accountable. If the DA doesn't prosecute, it doesn't work. And finally, if the person, all those things take place, but the person isn't sanctioned, there's no penalty, then crime pays and people continue to commit crimes. There are 2 other aspects that are very, very important. But let me get back to this for a second. So it's often said by law enforcement that their arrests are only as good as a DA's prosecutions. And as a matter of fact, if crime is detected or apprehended, or the criminal is apprehended, but the prosecutor doesn't do his job, or the judge didn't do their job, then the police are just spinning their wheels and wasting their time. So that's a general principle that we need to keep in mind as I go forward in this brief talk. The next important part is that my office is funded in St. Tammany Parish by St. Tammany Parish government, and my budget has been cut in half. I guess I'm out of time.
No,
Okay,
please continue.
I'll try to be as brief as possible. My budget is cut in half. Jefferson Parish, their parish council gave them $13.8 million this past year for 2022, this coming year. My budget, which was approved, but it wasn't accepted, was for 6.5 million. The parish cut it in half to 3.3 because he didn't have enough money. So my funding has been cut in half, and 85% of my expenses are salaries and benefits. It's personnel. That's what my expenses are, 85%. So my income to pay salaries has been cut in half. Meanwhile, because of COVID, the number of cases that I could prosecute has doubled. All right? All of you, if accused of crime, you have a right to a jury trial, a felony crime. Well, when COVID hit 2 years ago, we couldn't have felony trials. And so that inventory, if you would, of pending felony trials increased. In fact, it doubled. So I now have half as much money and twice the workload. And you know what would happen if you went to the teachers in one of the school and said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, or Mr. or Mrs. Teacher, you have twice as many students and I'm cutting your pay in half. Your teachers would leave. That's what's happened to the district attorney's office. I am hemorrhaging, I'm bleeding quality prosecutors. When I lose quality prosecutors, it's the same thing as if you lost quality teachers. You couldn't, the system wouldn't function. You've got to have quality teachers. And if you don't have them, it's a complete breakdown of your school system. We are having a breakdown of that prosecution system. And if the prosecution system is broken, then the rest of it isn't going to work either. That's where we are. So what can we do about that? Well, I've come forward with a proposal, and it's listed on a sheet of paper that each one of you have, and on the back of it is the specific language of the proposition. It's a 0.14% sales tax, which will generate approximately $8 million for the DA's office. If that tax does not pass, I'm going to suffer, and I say I'm going to suffer, we as a community are going to suffer the consequences of that. We know why people live in St. Tammany Parish, our quality of life. And the two principal ingredients in that quality of life are security, public safety, and the school system. If this continues, if that tax fails, our quality of life is going to be directly impacted because our public security is going to be directly impacted and it's going to decline. So this election is on April 30th. I'm here to ask you to please read this letter, to consider my comments, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. I can tell you at the end of last year, I got to tour the Justice Center and the jail. And I could tell you, if the average voter saw what I saw that day, it would be 100% pass rate, because we definitely want to keep everybody there and put more in. It was a rough tour on the right side of the glass. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I appreciate what you do in our community. And I appreciate all the teachers, the silent heroes of our community. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me or email me, and I'd like to respond to those questions. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir. Up next, we have Mr. Brant Osborne.
Brent Osborne, St. Tammany Federation President. Good evening, Board.
Real quick, Mr. Osborne,
Yes,
if you
sir.
don't mind. You're speaking as a Federation President, and if anything you're talking about, has the Federation voted on anything? Would you mind including that vote?
Yes, sure.
Thank
This is just an update. The union's insurance committee met in these chambers on Tuesday. Mr. German was there along with Board President Harrell. Thought it was a very professional presentation. This is my first experience with it. Very good news. Mr. Lynn, I don't know Mr. Lynn's last name, but he projected no increase in costs for employees and retirees or decrease in benefits. And I just want to say some school systems will slash retiree benefits to fund raises for current teachers. That's never something we're going to support. We want people working in this system from the beginning of their career to the end, and we don't want to betray them at any point. Something we talked about, touched on a little bit, our wellness initiatives. As good as a job as the system does controlling costs, inevitably, I think we have to do something to have a healthier workforce, mentally, physically. Parish government reported in 2018 using some kind of app-based system of incentives through Humana, and they slashed their expenses tremendously. So I don't like to necessarily copycat, but if we could look at some of those things, that's something our committee will look into and propose that. Just keep in mind, everything we talk about in these chambers is all a piece of the puzzle, and stress drives disease. So another thing we need to look at is what's going on in our workplaces. We'll have COVID behind us, I pray, hope, moving forward, but this has been a heavy toll the last 2 years. So we need to continue to look for ways to support those employees, to have healthy work environments where employees are happy to come to work, are happy to work hard and contribute to our system. So again, all the pieces come together. Obviously, more sickness creates more need for sub. It makes the sub shortages worse. The cost spirals, disease dries up the cost of claims, medicine. So again, for the health of our system, all these things that we sometimes disagree on, and that's fine. But we're all working toward the health of our system. And I always say there's a cost to everything. Sometimes you can measure it in dollars and cents, and there are other measurements as well. But thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Up next, we have Mr. Jeff Richards.
Evening, board members. I spoke before you last week for the first time as an uninitiate of public comment to the school board. I did not realize the vigilance and care taken not to hurt people's feelings. I consider myself a pretty soft-spoken individual, but I do care deeply about the subject that I was talking about, which was teachers and their treatment. One of the things, a point of order was brought while I was speaking, and I didn't react to it at the time because I was kind of taken aback. But it was curious from a couple of standpoints. First of all, the point of order didn't seem that it's kind of a disembodied voice, because when you're up here speaking, you can't really tell who's talking. But I did, and I'm pretty confident that the point of order did not come from a school board member. Okay. As such, that to me, having been exposed to Robert's rules in my childhood because of my mother keeping a dog-eared copy of it around the house, that seems to be a violation of the tenets of Robert rules, in that point of order can be called by a board member and has to be addressed to the chairman of the board. That's the way that's supposed to work. The people that aren't board members should not be calling points of order. Okay. The point of order subsequent to that was stated that it was that this board operates under state law regarding decorum. I'm holding in my hand the Louisiana open meeting laws. I've looked through this thing cover to cover. I can't find anything in here relating to decorum and public comment, with the exception of an 18-year-old AG opinion, which mentions accusatory or defamatory speech. That's an 18-year-old AG opinion. On the Attorney General's website, it says, Attorney General opinions provide legal advice and support to the state of Louisiana, its departments, agencies, political subdivisions. Opinions of the Attorney General are advisory only
They do not have the focus and effect of law. So I'm a little curious under what law the point of order was called. And I would also like to read into the record another little,
Thank you, Mr. Richards, but I'll address it since since the attorney was talking to me. He is our legal counsel and parliamentarian. He was calling point of order to me. Mr. Harrison, would you mind please explaining us the rules?
Yes, I would very much so. And I would encourage this gentleman to read a few other cases and attorney general opinions. The goal when I sit in this chair is actually to not interrupt anybody, so that we're clear. I try to be very respectful of people using their First Amendment rights. But there is a long line of cases coming out of the U.S. Supreme Court dealing with time, place, and manner restrictions. So language in here, in general, is very similar when I use language in a court. I can't accuse the judge of doing certain things. I would be called in contempt. But to stay on track for the precise language he's looking for with regards to accusatory or defamatory comments, I can respond directly to him because I come prepared for each of these meetings. So first and foremost, you would need to read Louisiana Attorney General Opinion 04-0107, Attorney General Opinion 98-17. And then in particular, there was one that came out with regards to this school board. This came out with regard to St. Tammany Parish on May 25th, 2021. That directly concerned open meetings law under Title 42 in Louisiana. If you would like a reference to a Louisiana Supreme Court case, one of the lead cases in this area is Godwin versus East Baton Rouge Parish School Board. The site for that, if you're able to pull it, and you can get this on the internet, is 408 Southern 2nd 408 Southern 2nd 1214. And in that case, it directly concerns the ability of a governmental agency to regulate accusatory comments. The reason simply is this: if I accuse you something, you're going to want to respond, and it creates chaos at meetings. Likewise, if you accuse me of something, I would want to respond. And when members of the public accuse members of the board, they're run by a different set of rules, so sometimes they can't respond. So it's a very simple process where you make your points and not accuse anyone collectively of doing anything, or individually either. The only reason why I interrupted you was you specifically used the name of individuals, and you were about to accuse them, frankly, of nepotism, which is a very serious allegation, and I didn't like it, and it wasn't accurate. And I was one of the attorneys that directly looked into the issue involving nepotism, and we follow the law on all of it. So I've answered your question, both generally about accusatory and then the specific comments you were about to make, why I interrupted you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
may I respond?
No, sir.
That's
The
my
time is
point.
up.
Respectfully, we'll keep going. So we're trying to, I don't want
Mr.
to
Harrison.
interrupt anybody, so sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Ms. Barbara Sharp.
Barbara Sharp, bus driver. Just a comment to Mr. Montgomery's statement. That applies to bus drivers and all your employees, in that without proper pay, you lose personnel. I imagine that some of you are sick of hearing my repeated discussions of lack of pay. Imagine having to live with it. Imagine receiving approximately 400 in increases per year, with inflation exceeding 7.9% recently. Imagine your hospitalization premiums increasing along with your deductible and copay, and receiving a high bill that you still have to pay because your insurance didn't cover it. Oh wait, I forgot, I didn't really get retirement, that amount of money. I didn't get 400. Retirement came out of it. Uncle Sam came out of it. Hospitalization came out of it, and others that seriously reduced that $400. I hope you consider this when you're in negotiations, and continue and remember as our hospitalization plans and costs are considered.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Ms. Lee Barrios.
Lee Barrios. Earlier today, I sent all of you 2 emails outlining the details with timeline of the substitute applicant's experience that Ms. Niehaus spoke about last week. The public records I collected and the conversations I had with Superintendent Jabbia leave no doubt in my mind that that young lady did first apply 6 months ago, that neither Dr. Schneider nor I lied, and that the process is indeed not streamlined, not efficient, and not transparently fair. After hearing from this young lady on Monday, February the 7th, that she had applied 6 months ago without a callback, Dr. Schneider wrote a blog published the next day, February the 8th. On Friday, February 11th, 3 days later, Dr. Schneider passed the lady in the hall at school, whereupon the young lady said she met with Superintendent Jabbia in his office 2 days prior and was put on 6 months probation by her superior officer for speaking to the media. I called Superintendent Jabbia Friday evening and spoke with him twice. He said at the time he didn't know Dr. Schneider or anything about her blog. I'll spare the public the details, but happy to share with anyone who messages me. I was told by Mr. Alfonso that there is no substitute application at the school level, no paper trail of an applicant's initial request. This leaves the principal and the assistant in full control of what goes to HR, if anything. Where Ms. Niehaus's public rendition of events fell short was when she said, quote, "We received her recommendation on January 28th, and she was contacted February 1st to start the process." February 1st was 6 days before she told Dr. Schneider that she'd applied 6 months ago and had not been contacted. The most glaring deficiency in this substitute process is leaving the determination of whether someone will be a sub or not to the principal or administrator and the school level, especially with no formal application. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrios. And that is the end of our public comments. All right, our announcements are the next committee as a whole meeting will be held on Thursday, April 7th at 6 p.m. The board meeting will be held on April 21st at 6 p.m. at the Brooks Educational Complex in Slidell. The schools will be closed on April 11th through April 18th for spring break, and the office sites will be closed April 15th through the 18th. We have an executive session has been requested pursuant to LRS 4217A2 to discuss the following matters. A, Raven Mora versus St. Tammany Parish School Board, USDC, Eastern District, docket number 219 CV 13479. And item B, to conduct a strategy session with respect to the collective bargaining with the St. Tammany Federation of Teachers and School Employees. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Nation. Thank you, Mr. Loop. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions by board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote verbally. Say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes unanimously. We are now going into executive session.